Hey guys, it's Jonathan here from Set Sail, and today is Thursday night. Tonight is Thursday night, and we are here at Foundation Coffee House, which is the new venue that we have for Gather. This is actually one of my favourite coffee shops in Manchester. Super excited that we're hosting it here right now. So we've just finished setting up, and I'll take you guys inside to see what's going on. Okay, so it's almost 8 PM right now. We're about to start the first acoustic session. People are showing up. It's actually England are playing in the World Cup right now, so the fact that people have actually chosen to come out, I'm quite happy about that. This is kind of the space in this zone where we're going to be doing like an acoustic Rivers and Robots set. So we're going to be leading about an hour of worship songs, and our friend Tina, who is just there, is going to be doing an acoustic opening set, playing some of her songs. She's from Soul Survivor Church in Watford and has a bunch of tracks on the Good Christian Music blog, which are amazing if you've not already heard them. It's pretty cool to actually be leading worship in a place like this, which is literally in the city centre of Manchester. Okay, so it is now Friday, and Gather was amazing yesterday. My battery ran out on the camera, and also we were leading the set, so I didn't really get much chance to film anything. But we do have a couple of clips from like our Facebook live stream and a couple of people's Instagram stories and things like that, so I'll try and cut some of those in. It was an amazing night, and the first time we've done it at Foundation Coffee House. For those of you who've been following along with Gather, you'll know that our heart is really to be in the city centre, in neutral venues and places that worship doesn't often happen, and bring worship into those spaces. And so we've done that in cafes and club venues and all that kind of stuff over the past few years. And for the first 6 months of this year, we were actually in St. Philip's Church while we were looking for a new venue, and St. Philip's has been amazing. We've loved it. It's been an amazing place to host the events, and we've seen it grow, and also it has been a great way to reach the community, and people have come in off the streets in the events, so it's been great. But there's just something special about being in a coffee shop like that, right in the city centre. What's great about Foundation as well is like it's glass all the way along the front, and because it's such hot weather right now, the doors were open at the front and the music was like spilling out onto the street, and there were so many people walking past and just looking in and hearing the music, and some people coming upstairs to see what it was all about, and there were security guards outside bars at the street across that were like listening in, and one guy joining in with the worship. And so Tina did an amazing job of opening up and just setting the atmosphere as people came in and got drinks, and we're chatting, and she's just got amazing songs that you should definitely check out if you haven't already. And then with the Rivers and Robots set, we kind of just led a worship time with a lot of congregational songs, and from the very first song, like everyone was just singing it out. This is part of the reason we run these Gather events, because for those of you who've grown up in the church for a while, I'm sure you'll be used to the kind of worship services, and there's just some amazing times that you can have when the church comes together and we sing these corporate worship songs, and it's a really powerful moment actually of just gathering to worship Jesus and lift him up, and it's a place of like encountering God, and he reveals things to you. I'm sure a lot of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, but there's something about taking that moment into a place where people have never experienced that before. And so to have that kind of experience in a coffee shop with people from all different churches come into the city centre to worship together and encounter God is just amazing, and it's so good to see the way that it actually impacts people. Even from people walking past in the street and hearing the music, and some people coming upstairs just to see what it was, and buses driving past and you could see in through the windows and people could see everyone just going for it in worship. And a lot of these people are not Christians, they've never been to church, and they don't have all the Christian language for it and all that kind of stuff, but people are explaining to us like, I just felt really peaceful while the music was on, and like there was something really powerful about hearing everyone sing together. And there were people telling us like, I'm not religious or anything, but that was a really powerful thing, just hearing everyone sing out. And so I'm super excited. It went really well. The staff were really happy with it as well, and would love for us to keep coming back. So hopefully Foundation is going to be our home for Gather for the next while. So there's a little update on Gather. So if you follow Rivers and Robots on social media, you may have seen that today we just rolled out a new logo across Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and this is actually part of a larger rebrand of the whole of Rivers and Robots. And this design kind of rebrand is something I've been working on for about the past 6 months now, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the process, how we got to the new design and all that kind of stuff. So firstly, why the rebrand? Well, this actually felt like a really good time to freshen things up for the band. Some of our original lineup, Kalani and Dave, have moved on, and we now have Caleb in the band, so we have a new lineup. We recently just signed the record deal, which we made a video about, which I'll link here or here if you haven't seen it already. We're working on a bunch of new music, and there's just a lot of new stuff happening right now, and it felt like a good time to kind of look at our overall branding and visual language and see if there's a way we can make it fit more with what we're doing right now. So the first thing that changed is our R&R circle logo. So I've been using that R&R circle logo thing for about the past 5 or 6 years, like right from the very first album, and around that time the kind of popular thing was very much like the hipster look, you know, everyone was into like the folky acoustic music and everyone had a beard. Well, the guys had beards, and you know, everyone was wearing check shirts and hanging out in the woods and making fires and all of that kind of stuff. The kind of style of that logo is very much in line with that. I used Baskerville, which was kind of that like fancy, quite hipstery font. We did the really curly ampersand. We had the double line ring thing to kind of give more detail to it. And that kind of just fit with the whole nature, hipster, woodland kind of vibe. And it was pretty cool. We've been using it on albums from the very first one up until The Eternal Sun, and I guess we've basically come to the realization that we aren't guys that just hang out in woods all the time with beards and, you know, fighting off bears. We actually live in the city centre of Manchester, and really I just wanted to kind of clean up the whole branding and make it something that's a bit more modern, a bit cleaner, a bit more versatile and usable in lots of different shapes and sizes and places. I spent a long time trying to figure out which font we were going to use for the band, and any designers out there will know the struggle of trying to pick a font and just spending hours trying out different things that look exactly the same, and I'd be showing them to people like, do you think, which one of these three do you like best? And they'd be like, they all look exactly the same to me. But in the end, I landed on one that I really liked, and I've been trying it out for the past few months on different things, and it is now the official band font. So it's a sans serif font, it's really clean, I quite like the ampersand, it's got this little missing piece in it, and it just looks really quirky, and we've gone for one ring around the edge that's a little bit thicker rather than the two thin ones, which just works a lot better at a small size. So on Instagram and the tiny little icons that you get, it's a lot clearer, stands out better, and is easier to just use in different contexts and with different colours and over different images, and it's just very versatile. So that's the first thing we changed. Now the second part of our rebrand is this new kind of waves logo. So it's a ring with waves in the middle, and I always thought it'd be really cool to have an actual symbol for the band logo rather than just the words Rivers and Robots. And this design is actually based on an old t-shirt design that I did for the Eternal Sun tour, and we also used it on the US tour. I might even have one somewhere, let me have a look. Yeah, so this t-shirt, we called it the Waves t-shirt. We printed this on the Eternal Sun tour along with 2 other t-shirts, and this one always just sold really well. So there's a very simple but subtle thing that's going on with this design, and from a distance it might look just like a bunch of waves, but actually the top 3 are curved and the bottom 3 are just straight angled. So that was trying to communicate the whole thing of Rivers and Robots, and the whole meaning behind the name, if you didn't know, was just trying to combine these different styles of like the natural acoustic flow music with electronic music, and we kind of just love that juxtaposition of all kinds of things in life when you bring these two things together and create something new, and that kind of communicates that. You've got the flowy rivery lines at the top and you've got the more angled robotic lines, but together they're playing into like one shape. And so I always really liked that design, and I was playing around with a bunch of different ways of styling that as a little logo, and the one that we landed on was this ring with 4 waves inside, and again the top 2 are the curved ones, and the bottom 2 are the straight angular ones. I've been kind of teasing that one on various Instagram posts over the past few months and just kind of dropping it as a little stamp here and there, and that's kind of the main way we've been using it. We've been using it as just a little thing to overlay on an image here and there, and just a nice little icon that appears every now and then, and it's been working really well and I really enjoy using it. So that's the Rivers and Robots logo mark. And finally we have just the word mark, which is Rivers and Robots but in the new font, and again it's just a really clean way of communicating that. But one of the things I've been trying out recently is kind of distorting type in different ways, and it is kind of a trendy thing right now, but particularly with the new music that we're working on, this may be something that we do more for the next album cycle, but perhaps we won't carry it on further than that, I don't know. But one of the themes I've been playing around with is this theme of water. Obviously we have rivers in Rivers and Robots, but there's a lot more significance to that, which I'll probably explain another time as I talk about some of the new songs and some of the stuff we've been writing. But this kind of sea analogy and the water analogy has always been something that I've loved using in our music, and I wanted text to have this underwater kind of feel. I love that thing that happens when you see an image and it's like moving underwater and it kind of breaks up and distorts in really cool ways. So the design that we most recently posted on our Instagram, which is just the words Rivers and Robots kind of warped with the little logo mark, that was actually made by printing out those words and putting it underwater and literally moving water on top of it. And then I took pictures with my phone and sent those over into Photoshop and edited out all the background so it was just black and white again. But the distortion of that type is purely an analog distortion. That was just literally by water moving on top of a printed surface. So that was a really fun technique to try out. So yeah, hopefully that was an interesting look into the rebrand of Rivers and Robots. It's not really a drastic change. Basically things have got a little bit cleaner and simpler and more modern and slightly more urban feeling, I guess, for us. And we're also going to be launching a bunch of new merch with this new branding and new style, so keep an eye out for that. We'll be posting about it when it's available, and we have some really exciting things to share soon, so make sure you're following Rivers and Robots on all of the social media things. Links will be in the description if you're not already. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say. Gather was awesome. We've rebranded Rivers and Robots. Hope you guys are having a great week, and we'll catch you next Friday with another video. Goodbye.
Set Sail Video Blog. Set Sail Video Blog. It's a video, it's a vlog as well. Set Sail.